stab through a hand here and there, but
Yikes.
the hand is so small. It's so easy to.
John, I think your microphone's off.
Yeah, John, your microphone on.
I see your mouth moving, but I hear nothing coming out.
And he has the wrong shirt.
Yeah, why are you wearing Star Wars? We can't hear you.
Oh, because of yesterday. Because yesterday was May the 4th.
It's the glitter.
It's the glitter. We don't mention the glitter. Did you buy that lamp that's beside you there, Tim? Or did you make it?
One of my neighbors got it, and they got it from, I think there was a church that was mentioned. It's like one of those cylindrical type of,
Yeah.
really
That's
cool.
really cool.
It is super cool.
And I went like, hey, I wonder how much it would cost to buy another one. So I went online and looked, and I said, too much.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Anybody know about an abandoned church with some
It's
lanterns?
like everything is wood except for the
Yeah.
metal at the bottom.
The bar.
bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
the vent
super
seal.
interesting. Yeah, I was just looking at that. I was like, that's so cool. I really like that.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
tell
why,
anyone where I got it. It's part
Okay.
of the mystery.
Oh, right.
That's-
Okay.
That's why we do stuff like, no ma'am, you do not shout. Okay.
He stole it from a church. I saw him.
It would be hard to find one that uses those. Though.
Would you want like a
rustic.
similar, like one that looks the same, or?
Yeah, I was just looking to see how much they are because it's pretty big. I mean, that's my arm next to it. I mean, it's,
Yeah, it looks really big.
and
I
it's-
couldn't tell if it was like really close or if it was just
No,
the
it's
size
big.
of it was really big.
It's-
Yeah.
It's hanging from iron chain.
Oh,
The
that's
legs are
super
twisted,
cool.
so-
We've made stuff like that for shows because you
Yeah.
have to build lots of them for not as much as they cost.
See, then
cheaper to
everyone could
build
just
it.
make you a replica.
All right, so you guys hear me now,
Another
right?
thing added to the project list.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yes.
now.
All right,
John.
yeah. So it's weird. The mic was not working, so I switched mics. But anyway, we're good, and we're going to kick off here in just a second. But you continue to chat amongst yourselves, please.
Well, now that you've called
Talk amongst yourselves.
I'll give you a topic. All right.
Talky talk.
You are not seen yet. You are only heard. Hey, Maya
Oh,
Morph,
thank
good
you.
to see you.
Thanks for
Lord
the warning.
Forth. Jay,
I
thanks for
need to
popping
get that
in.
warning every time
yes. Let me
Mike,
go get my wig.
Mike.
because I might say something.
Well, we predict that. I put a filter on this every time you join, Tim, knowing there could be something inappropriate. But then also, Mike, thank you so much, Retro Gamer. They are not ready for what you have given me. It's going to be a big part of Greyhawk Awakening very soon. Oh, Obsidian, yes, and thank you and congrats, Obsidian. And we're going to kick this off. Ready? Are you guys ready?
No.
No, you're not ready? All right, we're going to chill for a while
what?
then.
What are we doing here?
What? Are we D&Ding? I think we're D&Ding, something like that.
Oh, yes.
okay.
I got
All
my
right,
dice.
here we go. And 3, 2, 1.
Jay is sitting in a parking lot for soccer.
Nice, Jay, as you should be. All right, we are joined tonight by 3 amazing people here on Blue Box, and it's going to be a quick stream, so you're getting lots of value for the minute tonight. It's going to be very compact. We have 3 guests with us, Evelyn and Vivi and Tim. And of course, anytime you're talking about devastating crits, old school, medieval, damage, horrible tactics associated with the gore and blood and damage and criticals, you know you need Vivi. No, oh, sorry,
Me?
you need Tim. So it's
I'm
going to be
not
a
the one that rolls
fun.
a d20s all the time. I think you're looking at Evelyn over there.
So it's going to be a fun night tonight. But quickly, first, let's look at our amazing trailer. Thank you, Rory. We'll be updating this soon. Hey, good evening, Prometheus. Hey, DM Dingbat. Good to see you on the chat. All of our sponsors highlighted there, and we'll go back to our sponsor super highlights next week. But thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and we are talking, as I mentioned moments ago, about a wonderful topic tonight, which is old school medieval mythology and also combat tactics and armor and weapons. I'm really looking forward to the archery. Tim, those archery videos are incredible.
Well, they're funny anyway.
No, they're people are going to be like, hey Josh, good to see you, thanks so much. And Josh is helping with our Discord, so thank you. Patrick, Ancient Gamer, oh my gosh, already, thank you so much. I should move that alert so people can see it. It's hard to see over that notification out there. But just a quick reminder, thank you for joining. Quick reminder, next Wednesday night, so 1 week from tonight, I'll be joined by Dimongund, who is a Tailspire crafter extraordinaire. I'll be joined by Elestari, who is from France. I messaged with him this week, had a good Zoom call with him, super talented artist. And then I'm going to be joined by Don, who runs Tales Tavern. So we have an amazing LMA next week. We'll also have Vivi and Josh on with us as we talk all things Tailspire. We have our normal stream on Sunday for Rune Lords, which is never just normal. It's always extraordinary. And then next week we'll have GH.
Abnormal.
Abnormal. Thank you for the Young Frankenstein reference. So that's all going to happen next week. Sorry for missing last night's show, rather. But tonight, we're ready to jump into it. So, Tim, I'm going to put it on you. Where would you like to start? I have all of your images and your videos ready.
We're going to need to finish the old business before the new business.
Okay.
So that means we got to go back to the bow. So there's originally, just to refresh everyone's recollection, there was a discussion about how close do you have to be to effectively hit someone with a bow, you know, in like imagining what it would be like in D&D, and I thought that sounds like something we can test. So I've been just fairly recently been shooting every Tuesday instead of working out. It was something super physical, more like skill based. So I've been shooting a bow every Tuesday for a month or so. So I am not what I would call proficient.
Well,
I'm familiarized.
You look pretty proficient in these videos. Now you don't look.
I know looks can be deceiving.
Well,
trust me, because I mean,
I'm looking at the belly in this shot. So yes, you need to hit the gym a little bit more. But the absolute proficiency in these videos is insane.
COVID added to my dad gut. So,
me too. So
I'm sporting the dad gut more than I used to. So you know, certain things have been changed. So hopefully that'll diminish. But we started, I think.
So you tell me, I got them all up here.
I put them in. I numbered them so we could.
Yeah.
We could
So
go
start with the first one.
numbers.
Okay. So tell us about this first one. I'll play it and then we'll play it again because it's pretty short.
The number one, isn't that the okay?
So I'll show it again.
That's what I think it is. It's the very first iteration. Where
Yeah. So you're like three feet away.
10 feet away. Maybe. Pretty close. And the question is, can you hit something that close?
Which is interesting in combat. And so let me go to, so Evelyn, you're running right now at Yolandra, and this idea of how close can a melee combatant get to your archer. So when you watch this with Tim, what are your thoughts?
Well,
I can't see it. Is it on right now?
yeah, it's on the.
It's on the Twitch stream. You won't see it on the Zoom.
But I mean, we talked a little bit about it during our previous part of this discussion, but you can probably get it off one to Please. You might not be able to fire an arrow
Okay,
more than
I'm
once.
sorry. I know I talked about double entendre before the stream, but you didn't have to go there that quick.
Okay,
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Did I make you blush? All right, awesome. All right, so let's go to the second one, Tim.
So, I mean, is this? I didn't see the video. Can you replay it again? I'm sorry, because I didn't have Twitch open, so I was.
Yeah, I'm replaying. So this is so watch again here. This is one where you already have the bow.
That's number
It's basically
2.
same shot, and I'll play it again.
I'm actually being smart alecky and saying something.
One more time.
5 foot away, second try.
That was the second one, I think.
Right. All right. Any comments there? You want to move on to the next one? So now.
Do you shoot a target 5 feet away?
So Tim, just a question: level of difficulty when you did that, like how many takes did you have to do to enable to hit
Well,
the target?
that's what I have to actually look at the video. The hit that's right in the middle. I have a take where I think I'm further away.
Okay.
Well, no, I have the answer.
A series of,
I have the answer to
a series
Vivi's
of
question.
shots.
Sorry, I have the answer to Vivi's right here. So here's what happens. Watch, Vivi.
Can you shoot a target within 5 feet? That is the question.
Hey, watch
Can you
again.
shoot a target within 5 feet? That is the question.
So at least 2 takes.
Exactly.
Can you shoot a target within 5
Well-
feet? That is the question.
I did multiple takes, and that one was. That's not the first iteration. There should be a video in there that shows like 5 shots, so it's a longer video.
I have that one.
And didn't I number that one?
No, it was the last one, but it's an MP4. So this is, if you want me to, I'll
Maybe
show
I
that now.
changed the names before you looked at it. If you downloaded them,
I just extracted everything as you sent it to me, Tim. This is what you want me to show. Here you go. This is Tim in all his glory. This is so cool. Watch this. Watch.
Discussion shooting within 5 feet with a knocked arrow. I'm not an expert, but we're gonna see.
Right, this is the this is the first ones I did. This is the very first ones I did a couple weeks ago. I can't see the. I have a delay on Twitch, so I don't know what it looks like. Do I hit it in the middle of the box or what? Right.
You did.
This
Yeah.
one was my second shot. That was actually my second shot. That was my first shot. I'm kind of hitting it.
An arrow knocked.
And then there's that one where the arrow deflects.
Right. All right, so we've shown this, and by the way, Patrick, Ancient Gamer, he wants you to know his belly is bigger than your belly, which is in keeping with our innuendo, the theme here tonight. And no, there is no harassment on this stream. We are all just good folks having a good time. But Tim, so archery, I think there's a couple lessons you have here. One is most of us really underestimate how close an archer can be to create incredible impact and power, correct?
Right. So that one was the first time I tried it. And so the other iterations I have are even closer. So I actually get closer the next times. And there's
Like
one
this
where
one.
I'm standing like a foot away and I jump back and shoot.
All
So
right, like this one here, that's super close. I mean, you're 3 feet away.
5 foot away, second try.
I mean, that's like melee range.
right. So I think that it's fair to say you could probably, if you're proficient, get one shot.
All right. So
And that's what I get out of that.
all right. So Vivi, Evelyn, comments, questions, thoughts on this? That we're starting off tonight. We're going to get into all kinds of medieval weaponry, armor, tactics. This is Tim's expertise. If anyone's wondering, my background is real. And Tim's background is real. So, like
My
all
background
those.
is also real. How do you know that?
You tell
I live
big
in an
figs.
armory, and Evelyn lives in a tavern. People's tavern.
Yeah. So.
Talking about.
Exactly. So, like Tim, incredible armory, weapons, all that. So, Vivi, Evelyn, what would you like to ask about the archery that he did here?
It's actually pretty interesting to see that you can actually fire off an arrow and shoot it into something that close. I think that was a lot of when I DM too, I have a lot of issues with players who play a ranger, and we kind of discuss close combat with an arrow and stuff like that, and the accuracy. It seems like you can get it off. I guess it's just like the accuracy of how. But again, like you said, Tim, you're not proficient, so.
Yeah, I'm not. I would say I'm familiarized. I'm not.
Yes.
Proficient. But I mean, I can hit the cardboard box, which is half the size of a person.
Correct.
Most of the time, it's not moving, not trying to hit me. I'm under no time pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's just familiarization. So I mean, if you were really good at it, you would definitely be, much more accurate. And of course, if they're wearing armor, it's going to be way harder.
Right.
Mhm.
I would not want to not have armor and not run after several people with bows. That would not.
Which is interesting because in 5th edition, they talk about being at disadvantage if you're too close, which is kind of neat. I like that you were able to kind of test this, and you can kind of see that. May not be the
You're at a disadvantage in that once you fire that, you don't have a weapon in your hand, and you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get a second shot.
Yeah, for sure. But it's still possible.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think that's that whole idea.
And then you run.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah, disadvantage or what I've done. Yeah, disadvantage or what I've done is like if you have an archer and the melee combatant with the weapon is within 3 to 5 feet, it's an attack of opportunity. Now the archer can still get the blow off the shot, but you're going to get that extra shot because that guy with the weapon, the sword, he's coming in so close. But I think what Tib has shown us here is the power. And that's so much power and strength in that bow at close range.
And that bow it's a 40-pounder. It's like a modern, like, let's take it easy on somebody who's not really going to fight. So, but since then I've actually upgraded to a same shaped bow, but it's 60-pound pull. And
now would that
better.
change, Tim? Would that change the speed with which you could draw and fire with the 60-pound versus the 40-pound, or is it the same?
Oh, it's the same. The arrow is faster, but it hurts my thumb more.
Okay.
Build up that callus on your thumb.
But, well, it's not because I made a leather, a leather thumb protector, which is historical, So because I'm drawing. I'll use my glasses. I'm drawing on the string with my thumb, so the arrow is on the right side of the string, right side of the bow. I'm pushing it through, getting the knock on. I'm reaching around it with my thumb, locking the thumb in, and then drawing it back with my thumb and releasing like that. So the rubbing is taken care of by that leather thumb protector, but the weight, it's still smushing your thumb on a string with 60 pounds. That it hurts more after a couple, but it's worth it.
No, that
I'll get used to that.
Well said, and I'm sorry, I should not have had the pre-conversation I had with Vivi and Evelyn, because I just can't get that out of my head now. Everything I hear is what you guys have corrupted me.
I've ruined you.
You have, absolutely. So Patrick said wear a brace and a glove. Thank you, Anna. It is always interesting when you have Tim on.
I don't wear you don't wear a glove when you fire with the thumb, because the idea is you're keeping the arrow on the same side as your bow.
Mm-hmm.
So the arrow's on the string. So I'm bringing the arrow from the right, and I never have to leave the string. Traditional, I would take the arrow, I'd lay it down. I would lay it down, knock it, then let go, reach around, place my fingers, then draw it. As opposed to, and then I'm on it. And so that's why, that's the thumb draw is like a Middle Eastern Saracen archery sort of draw, which theirs was about firing fast from horseback, not pulling a 140-pound longbow. The three-fingered one, I believe, is called the Mediterranean grip. I think is what it's called. If you put the arrow on the left side of the bow, on the left side of the string, but do not want to waste time, what they end up doing is putting the arrow down and then drawing, but their hand is inverted. Instead of pulling this way, they're pulling this way, and they pull it back and release from there. So if you want to fire on the left side, that's how you do it. But,
No, that makes good sense. So, I mean, so cool. Tim, thank you for putting together these videos.
I am not an expert on archery, and I clearly.
Well, you're apparently
I do like it, and I experiment with it.
You're a pretty good expert with point blank archery, I would say. Yeah, you're crushing those boxes from 3 feet. A lot of holes in them. All right, so oh gosh. All right, Evelyn, Vivi, other questions for Tim on archery? Because we did want to talk, Tim, also about the question, sort of the bayonet style spikes on the tops of bows that came up with Mike Disney.
Yeah, Mike had asked about.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that? And I'll let Evelyn and Vivi kind of prepare their next question.
Sure. So last time we did this, which was during the GaryCon, Mike Disney had asked. He's seen a lot of art showing, metal spikes on the ends of the bows and on the bows themselves, and it's like, were they useful? Could you hit someone with it? So I was like, I don't think so, but I was going to look into it, and the answer is no. They wouldn't put anything like that on the bow, and it's because you're battling the physics of battling inertia, resting inertia, and the weight of the limbs. If you add more weight to the limbs, you're adding far more energy to that string when the bow snaps taut. When that string's taut, so now you need a thicker string. Well, now that you've added more weight, it also slows the limbs down because there's more weight on the limbs. Now it slows down because the string is heavier. So you're fighting against what you're trying to do with the bow by adding those heavier objects to it. So that's what my research showed.
No, that makes sense.
I don't think there's any actual pieces that show that. It's just kind of a conceptual art.
No, that makes a lot of sense, because you would have, with a bayonet on a rifle, that's not the same. But on a bow, that's definitely more of an impact.
Right, and your bow it will be destroyed in combat if you use it. I mean, if your life's on the line, throw it if you have to, but it'll get destroyed. Because once you put a nick into it, it's now a point of weakness.
Yep.
No, well said. All right, so Vivi, Evelyn, either of you.
Now, knowing what you know now, Tim, after your experiments as a DM, would you adjust your style, I guess, or the rules, in bending the rules in that sense?
Nope, I would have already allowed it.
You would have already.
So just kind of justified it.
Oh, okay, perfect.
This is why it works.
You're like, I can prove that it works.
Like,
That's
I
interesting,
know
though.
it'll work.
Yeah, I think I will also bend the rules in that sense as well. Just kind of seeing what I saw as well.
One arrow.
I would assess. I would assess a penalty depending on how much time they had to prepare before they got that shot.
Oh, okay.
If the guy came running from 40 feet away, he gets his one shot, I probably wouldn't give him a penalty. But if you're suddenly surprised 2 feet away, it's like a reflex. Maybe you get a penalty just because you're surprised.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to take
Depends
you
on how complicated
the
you
arrow
want
on
to
the
make it.
string and draw the arrow. If
Right,
someone's
if it
charging
was
at
not-
you, you're already prepared. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if it was not knocked,
No, that's I like that. So I think the adjustment.
Use it as a...
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think the adjustment that I'll make in my game, and I talked to Tim about this, I think with close archery, I'm going to create a penalty to accuracy, just with these, sort of the shaking of the hands and a degree or two of movement either way, but an increase to damage. Because if you hit from 4 feet away, that's a huge puncture wound that you take. Now, we had someone, Vic Danger 21, said bayonets on rifles markedly affect accuracy and range. This is not something I have personal experience with, so Vic, please feel free to pop more in the chat, or Tim, any comments on that with bayonets on rifles and accuracy? Even though that's not D&D in my game, I think it's interesting.
I think it would for long shots. I think it can, because the bullet is now. Well, there's escaping gases from the barrel, and the bullet is now flying right along the blade, and so it's going to create some effects. I know, yeah, I think so. Anything you hang on the barrel has the potential to do that. It depends on how you shoot. Like, if you shoot as well as me, it's probably not going to make much difference, because, you could give me the best golf clubs in the world, I'm only going to do so good. So it's probably not going to affect.
That's fair.
It's not going to affect my shooting as much as it would be somebody who can really, hit that very, very small detailed target far away. But I think it's true. But I don't know. I think he's right.
Yeah, I think that's right, Vic. So I think, again, if it's distance, anything could change. A slight breeze affects a bullet from a mile away.
If you're fixing bayonets, they're not far away.
Right, exactly. So, but if I've got that bayonet and they're 3 feet away, just like this arrow discussion we're having, probably not that impactful in terms of accuracy, right?
Although I would say, John, the arrows on the string, it is pure reflex. There is no aim. It's just so. I don't think there would be any shaking of the hands. I would say maybe penalized damage. This is just my opinion, because you may not get that full draw. I couldn't say if I actually got the thing back all the way.
Ah, okay.
Releasing it. It's more like a really quick shot. So,
So maybe
my 2 cents.
yeah, okay. So I need you to make some modified rules for us to use here, because Tim, I think that makes a lot of sense, and you're obviously the better expert than we are. Now let's move on from bows. Let's talk about other elements of medieval tactics, armor, weaponry, which you are clearly an expert on. And I want to let Evelyn kind of lead this next part of the discussion, because she is also someone who has worked with props and theater, and she does minis and painting, and then we're going to get to terrain as well. And I want Vivi to be able to talk to sort of the impacts of these things on terrain, minis, and your sort of structure in your game. So Evelyn, go ahead.
I don't really know where you want me to start. I mean,
I told you I don't care where you start, anywhere you want. If you want me to jump back in, I will. But I wanted you to have a chance to really ask him any questions you had.
I don't have any particular questions. I mean, I've looked into a lot of this stuff, and there is a reason why Eladra also carries a long sword, by the way. It's because in those situations. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what how to proceed next.
All right, no worries. Vivi, any questions? Because I'll jump in if you don't. I've got plenty for Tim.
Are we talking about questions about archery still, or are we talking about swords?
No. Anything broader, sort of medieval tactics, armor, weaponry, anything you'd like to discuss. I've got an image up here which I showed briefly during GaryCon, which I love. So anything you'd like to discuss?
Well, we can get onto the topic of swords. And what is that thing that you asked us to look up?
The
oak
Yes.
shot?
Yes,
Oak
exactly. Yep.
Typology, the oak
Thank you,
shot
yes.
typology.
That's exactly what I said. Yes, the oak shot.
You're not familiar with that?
They are now.
We have been familiar with it about 15 minutes ago. And to look it up 15 minutes before the stream starts, so that's where we're at.
What did it say?
It just talked about different kinds of swords and their uses, like cutting or penetrating,
Right.
puncturing.
Yes.
The I mentioned that to
Thrusting.
John. Oak shot, Heward oak shot, and I don't know biographically. Early this last century, I guess. And, he did a study of swords, because before that, whenever they had swords and they were trying to date the sword, like this is a sword from the early Renaissance of whatever country, whatever, they were using the hilt and the handle and the pommel and the adornments on the blade to kind of determine its age. And so there may be a sword that's really maybe a fairly tapered arming sword, so a sword 3 to 3.5 feet long with a good taper, so it's very pointy and stabby, but still edged, and it might have a fancy hilt on it, so they'll be like, oh well, this is a rapier because it has that basket style hilt on it.
Right.
And so that was wrong, and that kind of picked up in the Victorian era, where they were kind of starting to study historical stuff. So some stuff, a medieval sword, Renaissance sword, might have like a 19th century hilt on it. And so what he did was he did a study of all the types of blades and used that as a typology to describe the sword more accurately rather than using the hilt to do that. And so you may have your copy of the records of the medieval sword, and you can reference it.
It's actually a really good, because somebody had asked if there was a good source for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
anyone have any good book or website recommendation for medieval weapons and tactics?
I know.
So Antiquitous just put one in. I've got it up on the screen now if you're watching on
that's
Twitch.
the wiki
Yeah, it's a
link.
great wiki for oak shot typology, so there's many different types of blades. Thank you, Antiquitous. So
we
this
go.
is one possible source. Shows blade cross sections, all kinds of really neat intel and info. So this is a good place to go. Thank you, Antiquitous.
So he has things like, type X, and it describes, what does that mean? That the it has it's basically a flattened hexagonal sort of blade. The pommels, the fuller runs most of the length, but every single type has some sort of description, because when you look at a blade straight ahead, some of them have a diamond cross section.
Right.
Some of them are just like a kind of a circular sort of thing that just are thinned out on the edges. Some are flattened hexagons, and they have different size fullers, and they all the mass on the blade and how it masses out affects how it's used. So and so he defined all that stuff so you could refer to something and you knew, okay, well, that's a blade that's definitely designed for cleaving, not a blade that's really looking to penetrate armor. So that's what the oak shot blade typology did. And so, dig into that and you'll be like, you never knew there was that much stuff about swords.
Yes, no, I like that. So, Tim, other than the obvious sort of, I've even made the mistake with rapiers, people using them like slashing weapons when clearly they're not. They're thrusting, or as Vivi stumbled over, thrusting and penetrating. I love that part. What are the other misconceptions that often occur with blade types or other weapons in medieval weaponry that when you would see them in role-playing games, you go like, no, that's not how that works?
Where to begin? In order to keep the game playable, there has to be some sort of abstraction as to the combat action that's occurring. So we'll say I swing and I roll to hit. What you only swing once in 10 seconds? There's no way that you're swinging once in 10 seconds. So the reality is there's a lot of things going on in the combat round. It's just that we're simplifying it for game mechanics, that it's an attack. It's not really one swing.
Well, okay, so let me jump into, so typically in any D&D combat round, it's 6 seconds, right? So in 6 seconds, the assumption is, yes, I'm not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's that I'm, parrying and I'm blocking and I'm trying, and then I get my option or my opportunity to strike. So in that 6 seconds, the assumption is you either get 1, or if you're like Irda, 11th level, you get 3. In 6 seconds, you're just that quick and that good with the weapon, correct?
You're asking me?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know how good Irda is. No.
She's real good.
Yeah.
She's
So
that
I'd say
good.
That one roll, I think, represents more action than just one swing.
Yes.
Maybe it's however we could say that it represents the whole combat, all the offensive things they're doing in that short period of time, or the one effective one that they finally have gotten a chance to swing. However you want to do it, but if you don't do it that way, you're going to end up with a combat system. There's a game called Riddle of Steel, and the combat system is very close to a real simulation when it's fight with a sword, and that means both opponents have an action die, like an attack and a counter die, and they all hold their hands up, and they're like, the DM says 1, 2, 3, go, and somebody drops, and maybe you both attacked, maybe you both defended, maybe so it's way more complicated. It's a game that's made for people who are really into that level of detail and have a fight with a sword. I think D&D is not made for that, and it would hinder the play of it, frankly.
Well, and that 6 seconds includes the enemy attacking you as well as you attacking the enemy.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's simultaneous. So I mean, it's all happening at once, and most standard combats literally last, if you think about the time, it might feel like it might be played out in 3 hours, but it's actually just like 5 minutes of combat.
No, that's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah, like two people who are really committed to fighting with swords, with no armor. It's like tap tap pang, it's over. Somebody just got wailed on, and that's it. It's more dangerous than it. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun, so the game mechanic is a little abstracted, but it's still, I forget how I even got on that topic or what question you asked me.
That's all right.
It's interesting to know like the details of things like that, though. Like even though like you say like mechanically, it doesn't really make sense to put that level of detail into your games, but it is just kind of interesting to know.
Right. I think it helps when you're imagining what's going on.
Right.
It's just like, have you ever seen a boxing match where they come out and somebody just swings once?
Yeah.
Not a good one. Not a good boxing match.
No.
I mean, real boxers.
Yeah.
They never swing. They never throw one punch.
Yeah.
They're always going to throw a series. And the same thing is true of every single, virtually every single martial art. If they're mixing it up, there's going to be throwing multiple attacks.
Yeah.
I know that usually when I wail on somebody, it's usually like the second or third swing, because I've gotten them I want them to react to me so I can throw their defense into confusion, so then I can capitalize on an area they've opened up. Usually the head. It's like.
Hey,
but,
good night, Grape Ape. And I got to say, Myamorph stole the words out of my mouth. When you were saying that, Tim, the first thing that came to my mind was old Mike Tyson fights. I'm pretty sure there were some old Mike Tyson fights where there was one blow or maybe two thrown. He would come charging out of that corner. But of course, that's the exception to the rule. That's not normal combat.
Right.
He was real good and real smart and very hard to tag too, because he was so good at moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense why, as you start off as level 1 character, that you only have one attack per 6 seconds, because you're a new person. I mean, you might have had some basic training to be a level 1 adventurer. You have to have had some training of some sort, because the barmaid at the tavern is not going to be able to just lift a sword with no history of actually lifting a sword. They're heavy, and it's not it takes training and strength and all sorts of things. But seeing as you level up and getting multiple strikes within those or the possibility for multiple strikes within that 6 second period makes sense as you go, because you're getting stronger, you're getting used to it more, you're getting more competent with it. So that the way that mechanically works makes a lot of sense to me, as far as why it logically works that way.
Exactly. So I've got a couple chats that are asking me to check Discord. So I'm going to check my Discord post while you guys continue. Go ahead.
Oh, you can throw a lot of swings. I was thinking about one of the things that I find it's hard to replicate is the two-fisted fighting or the offhand weapon mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people who say they're going to fight with two swords, I mean, that briefs well and it looks great in comic books, but there were not a whole lot of it going on, at least in Europe, and it was usually a brace of rapiers if they had two of them, and depending on which master of defense you asked, the rapier was not a very good weapon and was looked down upon by some of the masters of defense, because it was just so easy to get killed and not be able to defend yourself well. But if you have two weapons that are long, I can knock one aside and put it in the way of your other one, unless you're very careful.
Okay, so Tim, Moose actually just popped in the chat what I was thinking. Is that true typically in European fighting styles? Was that different in some of your Asian fighting styles? I was thinking of others. He actually mentioned monks. But why could I not use maybe a secondary blade, almost equivalent to a shield, for blocking, depending on the weapon?
I didn't say you couldn't use a secondary blade.
No.
I said one the same size.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Like, two broadswords. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean,
okay,
But
yeah.
like
You can-
a longsword and a dagger or something in the offhand. is-
or two short swords, or like call to
if you start
sides.
going shorter, you have more options,
Right.
I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You can't use two. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
The heavier it is, the faster you're gonna tire out, and the quicker you're gonna die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I got a 9-year-old asking me a question. Hold.
All right. Go ahead. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you for all the comments. You guys are great. We love all of our mad chatters in here. I was not saying your time was up. I just hit the wrong button. That is, all of our J fans know that's something that happens here when you're streaming.
9-year-olds are the best.
Yeah, and 9-year-olds are the best. Hey, Kaz
Right.
played. Yeah, Vic, thank you for the sub and the follow as well. Thank you, Hotchantnell, for the follow. We appreciate that. Gronk hosted us. Thank you so much, everybody that's helping us out tonight. We appreciate that. All right, so Tim.
what I was going to say was, your secondary weapon is smaller. It's really hard to hit with. So usually it's really just an additional thing you use to parry something with. And a parry is distinctly different than a block. Blocking is, you generally don't want to block. Blocking is static, and you basically reset time. So if you're looking at the timing of combat and actions, you're either, you're trying to do something before them. They're also counteracting you at the same time. There's the before, there's the in dace, which is mean in the moment, and then there's the after. So in that, conceptualizing, looking at that, you're going to try to create an opening by blocking his weapon with your sword. So right as he's swinging, you're in the moment at simultaneously, and you're setting it aside, and then you're striking. That would be a parry. I'm setting it aside as I'm hitting with the sword. If I'm blocking, I'm going boom. So now they've stopped. We are both now equal again. We're both as dangerous to each other as we were. If I take your energy and I deflect it while displacing this way, and I hit you, your blade goes that way. I didn't stop you. I merely redirected that and hit you. So that's the difference with offhand weapon, or a buckler, dagger, even a short sword, and like a long sword that the long sword D&D says is like 40 inches. It's really a single hand sword, and that's not too bad, but it gets a little clunky.
Yeah, no, I think that's well
The
said.
dagger's good because a lot of times I'm sorry, John.
No. I said that's good. And you're going to go to a dagger, and many times we think of a dagger as this, but a dagger could easily be 2 feet long or 1.5 feet long. It could be a pretty substantial weapon. You're gonna grab one. I love it. All right. So while he's doing that, because who else would grab a dagger live on stream? But the ever mysterious Tim. I saw we had a comment here, a question from Casplayed. What about 2 weapons versus weapon and shield? Is there a reason why or when you would use 2 weapons versus a shield if you have the option? Thank you for the sub, Synchronicity 3. Dragon Crafting Guild. Oh, thank you for all of those. We haven't seen you in a minute, John. So good to have you in tonight. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I would say it kind of goes back to the same thing that Tim was just talking about with, if you're 2-weapon fighting with like a weapon and a dagger, it just helps keep the momentum of the fight going versus like completely blocking down. The point of that 2-weapon fighting is you're not being as necessarily defensive. You want the fight to end as quickly as possible. So that's why you don't really need that shield in that situation, because you are trying to end the fight as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tim, go ahead. Show us.
I wrote down one of my little pet peeves that the topic came up when we started talking about shields. I was like, ooh. This is like a parrying dagger. So this is a left-handed dagger. So you know.
And
How long is that?
honestly, if you would have showed that to me, I would have said short sword. So that's so cool. That's
a dagger.
That's a
Oh,
great.
it's definitely not a
well,
short sword,
thank
it's
you,
so thin.
Evelyn. I know that now. But like what he's showing me, like that to me is longer. I said a foot to 2 feet. That's a big dagger.
I would put this. I mean, I like the dirk category. A dirk
Yeah.
is like somewhere between a
Yes.
dagger
That.
and
Yeah.
a
Okay.
short
Dirk.
sword.
That makes sense. Yes.
So I have those do 2 to 5 because pretty big. I mean, get a little bit more light. That's pretty long. So I'm not going to hit him with this. This is where, I'm going to be holding it, maybe crossing it with my own blade, and then if they're attacking, I might catch it in between them, and then take it offline while I hit them this way, or take it offline and stab them, downwards into their chest or whatever. There's all sorts of things cutting down below their legs. There's no end of the.
I just had a Millie moment. Opportune parry and riposte.
Exactly. Yes. Opportunity. So
And when
I'm
he crossed it too, I was like, "Ooh."
I always
What
did
happened?
that.
Millie.
Millie. So our
She used to always opportune parry and riposte. And
the
then she did
late-
exact same move that you just
We
did.
work
That's why I was like,
dearly departed Millie. May she rest in peace. So Castblade said he would 100% marry that dagger. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but
Well, it's pretty, is what you think.
exactly. Long tooth. Yes, it was a bit too soon, Robert. That's exactly right. All right. So back to this question though. When you show me that dirk, that long dagger, what efficacy could that have? Obviously, as a shield, it's not going to work as well against a missile weapon, right? It's really hard to catch an
Correct.
arrow with
Well,
that.
that's the question I was going to go back to. Why would you use
Right.
an offhand weapon
Right.
versus a shield? I would go if I have a choice. I'm going to try to use a shield if there's arrows involved,
Yeah.
Right.
and I don't
yes.
have plate armor.
Because if you have plate armor, it's
was to stop
almost
arrows.
Yeah, plate armor is almost invulnerable to a typical arrow. So if
Right.
I'm in plate, maybe I can have an offhand weapon instead of a shield against arrows. But what about crossbows? Like you showed me some really powerful draw and punch on a crossbow.
When I say bows, I'm really thinking English longbow, and so the heavy crossbows and the English longbow are gonna, they're slightly different in how they apply their force, but it's going to be about the same. It's plate. I mean, it works. It's hard to go through plate. And most of the arrowheads were iron. Arrowheads and crossbow heads were iron. They weren't hard steel. Imagine how much work to harden millions of arrows. I mean, the skill you need to do that would just be debilitating. You can't have the time to do it. Maybe that archer class has that steel arrow, so that's why it's +1.
The joy with which you referenced how long it would take to harden that many arrows, it's like Tim, no one else's mind works exactly quite like yours does, which I absolutely love.
The logistics.
Take forever.
Okay, so let me go to Vivi. Vivi, we talked a little bit about, and I want to preface this with the concept that if you're watching tonight, I don't want anyone to feel like, oh my goodness, I need to study up on medieval armor and weaponry or my game is not good. No, absolutely not. This is not meant to say that you need to do this or that you need to comply with these rules. It's just to give you ideas. Ultimately, run your game the way you want to run your game. All I wanted this to be was something that would give you a source of ideas and inspiration as a player, whether you're thinking about how your weapon operates or how your bow operates, or if you're a DM and thinking about how you're adjudicating the rules inside the gaming system for combats. I think this is a great topic for you to just be inspired by, not limited by. Now, Vivi, you paint minis. You do terrain, really cool stuff. You also DM when you're not busy moving. And when you're thinking about this, like what really resonates with you as it relates to I think really terrain would be my main question, because I think so much about terrain design can be influenced here for angles and heights and visibility for archers or weaponry, just anything at all on those lines for practical things for tabletop gaming.
Like, what do you mean by practical things? Like when you're adjudicating rules as a DM, or?
Yeah, or when you're creating terrain, like when you're sort of designing encounters with that terrain and as a DM.
When I design terrain as a DM, I try to use a variety of different things, kind of similar to like hills and stuff like that. And you talk about like advantage and disadvantage, sneaking up behind people. If they have more advantage because they have height or whatever. Yeah, like I think what Tim was showing earlier with the arrows, I think that would change my rule set in the sense of just kind of close combat ranging with bow and arrows and stuff like that. But I think it just depends on the campaign and where you're at, would be kind of more judging the terrain for what it is, I guess, more so. I don't really base my games off of my terrain. I kind of base my games and then make the terrain to fit to fit the game per se. Like I don't want to use the terrain as to build my story, I guess. I just kind of build to fit the story that I'm creating. Yeah,
no, bravo, exactly. And that's sort of the idea between sandboxing and railroading, or to keep things open. But when you do have that terrain, you got that angle, and then someone comes around the corner, and now you have 4 feet of distance. I think you really change how you think about that, and so I think that's fun. Evelyn, any thoughts you have on that? I think the 9-year-old is grabbing her again. No worries.
3. She searched 4.
No, I have the 9-year-old.
You have the 9-year-old.
Yes, all right there. Sorry, the 4-year-old. Yes, 9-year-old, 4-year-old. All right, so
well,
go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna. You mentioned terrain. I was when I was younger, I had more time on my hands practicing sparring with swords and other types of weapons. We went out in the snow. A 1.5 feet of snow, and it changes how you move around a lot. It affects everything. You're slipping. Mm-hmm. You're either pushing your feet through the snow, or you're lifting your feet up higher because you have to step out of the snow. Probably sand would be a little bit lesser degree, but you're not in, secure footing with the sand. And then, of course, definitely we had to lay a slope. So if you're higher up, the advantage is profound. Mm-hmm. Especially if you have a longer weapon, it's really profound.
And also just visibility as well, too, right? In that terrain, like if it's snowing or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're getting that, well, the visibility was one of the partial topics I was put down to talk about if we have a chance.
We do. Go ahead.
I wasn't finished about. I'll do pet peeves later. Should we go back to shields, right?
No, I'd like to
bows later because I have 2 pet peeves.
I'd like to finish with pet peeves because I think that's a nice cliffhanger for us. So you're going to get Tim's pet peeves, the rest of them here at the end. But yeah, talk about visibility, Tim.
Well, we're talking helmets. I think we talked about it with constricted terrain at the Gary Con.
Right, we did.
We were talking about that and wearing a helmet. And then when Lord Gazumba had his Cavalier Day, I put on my great bassinet, and it was fun to do that, but hard as heck to type. I couldn't see. And I was like trying to look through it. I have a little mini camera. I want to put it inside there so you see what it's like to look through that thing. Very protected. But it's really hard to see. Really hard. You can see big shapes, and that's great. In broad daylight, it would be easier to see stuff. But and here, so what you're hearing, so that I think the bigger your helmet is, the more it is affecting what you can see in your perception, and then what you can hear, and then it raises the question in my mind is, what does that do to your dexterity bonus?
Exactly. Yes.
You have great reflexes, but you're not going to perceive what's coming as well. So And that's why I kind of added the helmet factor to the crits. So if you're wearing a grade helmet, it's going to reduce the crit level on your head by like 4. You know, so you're not going to get this automatic head cut off if you're wearing a grade helm with a chainmail coif. You know, it's just not going to happen. So it's going to be, you know, reduced. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about armor topics, because we never talk about it.
That does
and not
make
wearing
sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked over you twice.
No, that's okay. I was just saying that real life, for what you were saying about the helmet and just visibility and stuff like that, in Canada, when it's freezing, we typically throw our hoods up. And then when we get into the car, if you ever try to drive with your hood up in the car, it doesn't really work, because when you shoulder check, your hood doesn't move, and then when you go like this, you can't see peripherally. So that does make sense while you're talking about wearing a helmet in battle and stuff like that, and just low visibility and things like that.
Right. You generally, I think jousting helmets you can't. I think jousting helmets are usually built into the whole chest and back, and you can't turn. But that's just super specific. But I mean, my head can move, but you're just looking through little holes, you know. I'm looking through the breathing holes and the little grill. And I had to make the helmet that way so that I could spar with blunt steel and not worry about it getting in an eye slit. I wanted to make it hard to put my eye out, you know. So I know I'm a wimp, but still.
I feel like keeping your vision is a pretty standard thing across the board.
So, you know,
I wouldn't call you a wimp.
Yeah, I don't think wimp comes in.
If I wore safety goggles, I know they'd fog up in there for sure.
Thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. And I know I have not shouted out all of you, but good to see you, Asher. I already mentioned Mitch, Willie, all of you guys. Thank you so much. Also, we have Don from Tales Tavern in with us tonight. He'll be joining us next Wednesday night. That's up right now on the screen. He runs Tales Tavern, which is this place where you can get slabs and boards to import into Talespire. He's also a really good guy. We talked to him this last week. He may be joining us on a couple of streams beyond that soon as well. So thank you for you being in. Kayla, Time Lord's wife. Give her a follow. Check that out. That's a great channel. Really, she's a great DM. And she's going to be doing some stuff for us here on Blue Box, I think, hopefully, very soon. So make sure you check out all these folks, good folks. RPG Academy, thank you for being with us tonight as well. And if I did not shout you out, it's not because I'm being rude, it's because I can't keep up with the chat. All right. Thank you, Zabaradan, for joining the Mad Chatters. You are now part of the most elite D&D chat in all of Twitchland. And I am wearing the Star Wars shirt tonight because yesterday was May the 4th. Today is Revenge of the 5th. And since I didn't stream last night, I have this shirt all ready to go. And so I'm wearing it tonight just to honor the other side of my geekdom, which I do like science fiction as well as fantasy, even though I never mingle the two. See, that's like dinosaurs. Nope. You want to run something, you know, in the Jurassic era? That's fine. Do that. So I like keeping my genres distinct. I just like I don't like to mix my foods on my plate. I like to keep my genres distinct. So I'll play science fiction with you. I'll do Planescape. I'll do Spelljammer. I'll do Dark Sun. I'll do whatever. I like to keep them distinct. That's just my personal preference, not judging anyone. All right, Tim, your pet peeves, my friend.
Are we confessing our
Yes, you can do that too. Your confessions, and then your pet peeves.
Well, I'll just go to pet peeves. In movies, and even what was I was watching some fighting, and they have shields, and his shield it's kind of like a weapon. It's a protective barrier. It moves. It can do stuff, and many times, I don't say all the time, in movies and in a lot of stuff, they'll have a shield and then they'll pivot their whole body and they'll swing and the shield is behind them. That is wrong. Morally and ethically. Oh no, I'm just kidding.
I think Cowboy Hob agrees with you. And by the way, real quick, I gotta let all the chat know I am very familiar with Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. I know that there are dinosaurs and spaceships in original canon. You don't have to tell me that. I'm just telling you what I like in my games. All right, Tim, please resume.
Confessions continue of the faults of your personality. So anyway, that was what I was saying. That we were talking about shields. It's just that the shield is basically, it's a movable barrier, but you don't want to move it from in front of your body. If you're suddenly attacked from the side, okay, move it to the side, but there should be none of this, because what's this? It's now all open. Now, if I move my arm back with the shield on it, it's doing nothing for me at all, and my arm's exposed. If I keep it here, I can at least swing around it, and it's protecting my front still. So that's one of my pet peeves. The other one is when they draw a bow, a recurve bow, and they sit there menacingly like they're going to shoot you. I invite anyone to take a recurve bow, not for this newfangled compound bow stuff, and use a recurve and try to hold that. And then longbow, 140 pound, 120 pound, even a 70 or 80 pound longbow, just hold it back.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Get
So
off
that's one of my pet peeves.
No.
Entertainment is aesthetics, facts are in books.
Exactly. Well said.
I
Get off.
don't even find it entertaining. I think it's dumb.
I like antiquities. Get off my lawn.
It's like, get off my lawn.
That comes up a lot when you're on my stream, Tim. I don't know why. Something about it.
I like that movie.
So, Tales Tavern, Don said his son did a crossover game with a spaceship and he had to suck it up. Yeah, look, I think your son's pretty young. Let the kids do what they do. I'm not hating on anyone. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you, I like the way I run kind of my genre. That's just my style. I'm not judging anyone that does something differently, and I certainly don't judge kids. Let your kids play D&D. I started my kids on D&D when they were 6 and 9 years old. I started playing when I was 7. I DM'd my first game when I was 8. So, you know, did I have it all right? I'm sure I probably had some dinosaurs and who knows what when I played that game. Draw and release. That's right, Bill. All right, so before we conclude, I want to give Evelyn and or Vivi a chance to ask anything else they would like, because I've gone to them both a couple of times with tough, no, not even tough, just badly worded questions where they felt like they were just abandoned. Like, what do you want? What are you asking, John? So let me try to be better this time.
Guidance.
Yes. Ask whatever you want. All right, let me try that. Let's start with you, Vivi.
Can I ask Tim where you got the nickname Ever Mysterious Tim? Where did
Oh,
that
I
come
had that on my list. Good question.
Yes. It started with Jay, my friend Lord Gazumba, on his channel, and so when he was talk about stuff, he would refer to me as the Ever Mysterious Tim because I wasn't around. And you know, it'd be like, who is this person? You know, and they would also blame me for a lot of stuff too when I'm not around. Oh, that's a Tim rule. That's Tim abuse rule because you know, they just didn't appreciate the creativity of working around, you know, usually spells, using them some way that's creative. And Jay doesn't. If he feels it gives the players too much of an advantage, he never wants them to have it. That's overstated, of course, but he's not here, so I get to.
So you can say whatever you want. These are your confessions.
He actually is here and he's watching, Tim. So sorry.
I know.
So no, we're gonna raid Jay in just a second, so no one needs to panic. We'll raid right into him as we always do. But that's a great question. Thank you for that, Evelyn. Your last question for the Ever Mysterious Tim.
Why does John always blame you for when people die to his crypt tables?
Why does
Very
John always
true.
blame me?
Yeah.
All right, so
He does.
so
He tries to deflect it.
no.
The Ever Mysterious.
He's like, it's not my fault, it's Tim's fault.
No,
Yeah.
So I think when Millie died, I principally blamed Brim. Didn't I? Because he clogged up the hallway running
I mean, it was a little bit of both, to
Was
be
it?
fair.
Was
it?
You actually
Yeah.
blame the dice.
Grim created.
No,
a bad
never blame the dice.
situation,
I never blame the
did.
dice. Sorry, what's that, Tim?
I mean, Brim created a difficult situation. but
Exactly.
The dice definitely created Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
bad.
so you had Dice, you had Brim blocking the hallway. Now, like, who
Why
else?
didn't he just lay down and let everyone walk over him?
He didn't think about
Well, it was
so-
a bit of a sausage in a like a thin line, basically. Brim was squeezing through everywhere in that
Vivi,
area.
stop it! Vivi, stop it! All right, so stop it!
But like, in general, he was too big for the dwarven mines because there were dwarven mines, and he's a half ogre.
He could have just dropped prone and let everyone go over the top of him.
All right, so for those of you that have no idea what we're talking, I still have. It was this corridor. Which was very small, was Dwarven Forge corridor, and this gigantic half ogre moving through that
He could just
corridor.
lay on his side.
Yeah, he could have laid down, not with his base. So this
Lay down. and you guys would've
this
done right
created the
through.
choke point, which ultimately resulted in Shorewind bumping into him, and then Millie
Well,
died.
It didn't
So.
help that Sherwood and Millie were both being controlled by me that night either, and we were the only ones in the room at the time.
So what I'm really hearing you say is
over
you-
people.
what I'm-
a whole string of events.
what I'm
It
really
was not great.
No.
You should have.
what
Why do you
I'm-
think we're so hesitant? Because usually when we just barge into places, things like that happen.
Yeah, it's good to be hesitant, but not, I'm sorry, you're killing me, Evelyn. But so what I'm really hearing you say is you use your last question to Tim as a passive-aggressive jab back at me as the DM. Well played, well played.
Jeez. Yeah.
Love it. Great way to end
Like-
the stream.
Like I said, I am an enabler. I just enable it. I don't do it. I'm just an
Oh,
enabler.
you guys are killing me. I haven't laughed this hard in days. Thank you so much. I needed this tonight. I really did. It was so much fun. And
I do have
Tim,
the one before we go. I have the
Yeah.
words of wisdom of the Masters of Defense.
I wanted
so
you to
various
close tonight,
masters-
so go ahead.
It's a paraphrase. Are we closing out now?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm gonna do a couple
time.
quick announcements, but yes, we're closing.
Okay. Words of wisdom from the Masters of Defense. This is like the generally. That which hurts teaches.
I sent that to them. Yes, that was in your Discord. I love that. That which hurts teaches.
True.
So back to you, Evelyn. If you feel like you've been hurt by some of these tables, that
Did you
which
learn
hurts
anything? That's
teaches.
Well, see, Millie learned things in the
John
last
is a
5
traitor.
seconds of her life. However, I'm playing a new character now who was not there for that incident, so maybe she doesn't.
Millie's dying thoughts were, I should have had a bow.
Well said, well said. Okay, all right, so we're going to raid Jay here in a second, but I just want to say again, thank you to the ever mysterious Tim. And now, I literally wrote that down today, Vivi, so thank you so much for asking that question. Great question. Thank you, Vivi, for joining us. The DM's Quest. Go ahead and give everyone your socials, please. And Vivi, or Evelyn, if you can, pop those in the chat if we have them.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put her around on Instagram.
Thank you, Page 31.
D&D thingies, so DMing, miniature painting, a bit of frame building, stuff like that. You can find me on Instagram at thedms.quest.
And I should say, just for everyone to know, Vivi has been such a big help to us here at Blue Box. She's introduced me to our sponsor, Ferox Fabrications. I've got another guy that I talked to today, Joe. I missed one of his Instagram messages to me, but he's also going to be working with Encounter Terrains, I think is what he
Yes,
works on.
yep.
And she has sent me incredible artwork, and she's just amazing. So Vivi, I don't tell you often enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then, of course, you have Evelyn here with us tonight. Evelyn is my right hand here on Blue Box, and she does all kinds of amazing things. I would be the potato that Vivi often references without Evelyn to help me
Yes.
keep this thing moving forward. And thank you, Evelyn, so much for being with us
She's
tonight.
Topping to your baked potato.
Okay, fair enough. And then Tim, thank you again for joining us. We're going to go ahead and kick off our raid of Jay, but reminder, our regular, which is not regular at all, it's special Rune Lords campaign on Sunday. We have the conclusion of the combat with the now converted Ixen the Betrayer has become a lich. and he's a young lich. He's a new lich, newly minted, if you will, but still quite dangerous. And the party is in desperate straits, very dire situation, and they're trying to survive this combat. That's going to be Sunday at 1:30. Then Tuesday at our normal 5 o'clock time, we'll be right back here with our Greyhawk Awakening stream, as we have every Tuesday night, and it's going to be a great stream, lots of fun. Very interesting situation for that party, as they have raided an area where the Red Lords have been taking slaves into the Twisted Forest here in the heart of the Pomage, very steeped in Greyhawk lore, and just beginning to tease out some of the elements of what Greyhawk Awakening really means. And even my players have no idea what that is yet, but they will very soon. And then next Wednesday night, as I have up here on the stream, on the view there, we're going to have with us a very special Loremaster's Arcanum. We'll start early, like we did last week, because I'm going to be joined by some pretty special artists. I have Illustrari, Charles. He's from France. He's in France. He'll be joining us from France. And he is an incredible Tailspire artist, also just a general artist, creates the PDFs and a lot of the other materials for the second guest we have, which is Demongund. Demongund, John, he lives here in the States, but he works directly with Illustrari, and they make amazing content for Tailspire. I'm going to show this off, but more than that, it's going to be super practical. We're going to do tips and tricks on building. I spent time with these guys yesterday on the phone, did a couple of Zoom calls with them. They taught me so much in a brief time. You are not going to want to miss what they're going to show you next week, and we're going to go into real practical stuff. And then Don, who's been with us tonight in the chat from Tales Tavern, he runs one of the two main sites for Tailspire boards and slabs to be imported. So you have Tales Bazaar, and then you have Tales Tavern. Tales Tavern, run by Don, that's the one I've been working with so much, and you can literally just go in there, grab things that other content creators have done, bring it, boom, right into your material for Tailspire, and you have ready-made sets. You can modify. You can be DMing in minutes with this tool and the content these guys will share. So do not miss any of those streams, please, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, it would not be Blue Box if we did not end with one question. If you've watched us tonight and you haven't followed, and we have a lot of followers tonight for a Wednesday night, that's a good followership, thank you so much. Or if you're a follower and you haven't subbed, or worst of all, if you're a sub whose sub has expired, we have one question for you. And Tim, you're rocking the shirt. Show us the shirt. Show us again. Let's see it. There you go, Vivi. There we go. All right. If you're watching tonight and you haven't followed, we have one question for you. What are you doing? Come on, give us a follow, give us a sub. And Tim, we're not done with you yet. We're going to have you back. Again, thank you everybody for joining us, and let's kick off our raid. While I kick off the raid, I'm going to ask, pardon me, Vivi and Evelyn to ask any final questions as I get ready to raid Jay.
There is one thing that I do need to announce really quickly, is that next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday is BlueBoxCon, and we will be streaming some stuff. I'll have a schedule up as soon as I have the start times for that, but we have some really cool, there's going to be some one-shots and some cast interviews and stuff, so make sure you check out our channel on Saturday, May 15th for BlueBoxCon.
I think I forgot that because I'm turning 50, so I'm trying to block that out of my mind. So, all right. And did our raid already go through?
Your sixth decade will begin.
Rating. Yeah, yeah.
It did. All right. I think I missed the whole BlueBoxCon thing. The raid didn't take 10 seconds this time. I don't know what happened. It went through really super quick.
No, it's still going. It says rating with 44.
Okay, all right.
It's counting down.
It's counting down, yeah.
I see the little purple line.
It's saying, okay, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I'm getting an error. All right, so is it done? Is it ready?
No, it's working.
No,
it's probably a little bit more. It's like a third of the way through now.
Okay, I'm gonna wait. But thank you, thank you. So yes, if you have not yet signed up for BlueBoxCon, please do if you want to come. It's gonna be fun. Lots of food, lots of gaming, and we will host you. John, I don't need my reading glass. I do need them a lot though, Greg. I really do, but not for this. I've got my screens a few inches away from me here, so I'm okay without my reading. Gosh, do I look that old? I'm getting all these comments now. I guess it just me.
No.
It's you know what? I could be like Terry. I could dye my hair.
Blue?
You could.
I could dye my hair, right? All right, so.
And there we go.
There we go. All
No,
right.
you can't. Is what you said.